Hello, class. So today we're going to be looking at GPS 27, which is Introduction to Polynomials and Operations. So let's just go straight to an example. Pretty straightforward, this GPS. Well, let's look at some definitions, okay? So when I talk about a monomial, okay, a monomial is when you have one term. So think of this as one term, one term, one term. These are called monomials, right? And then we have what are called binomials. So binomials, right? The prefix is bi, right? So that stands for two. And monomials, the prefix is mono, which stands for one. So binomials is like this. See, two terms, two terms, two terms, right? You think, right? The plus and minus basically separate the terms, right? So this is like one and two. See, one and two, one and two. The plus and minuses separate the terms. So this is two terms, two terms, two terms, binomial, right? In this situation, and then the next one we have is a trinomial. So trinomial means there's three terms. One, two, three, right? See, this plus separates all the terms. One, two, three. That's another trinomial. One, two, three. That's another trinomial. Okay? So these are monomials, these are binomials, and those are trinomials. And then if we have more than three terms, we just call them polynomials, okay? So poly, basically the prefix for poly is many. So polynomial just means many terms. So sometimes we just call them all polynomials, right? So polynomials include monomials, binomials, and trinomials, and so on. So let's look at a problem. Okay, so let's go straight to problem. So you'll see in this problem, right, I have a trinomial, right? I have a trinomial plus another trinomial, okay? So I have a trinomial plus a trinomial. So how do you do this? Um, well, when you're adding, right? So you always look at the operation. In this situation, the operation is plus, okay? So we're adding two trinomials. So pretty much all you're doing is just combining like terms, okay? Here you can combine the x squares, you can combine the x's, and then you can combine the constants, okay? Or just the numbers, right? So let's combine the like terms. So 8 plus 2 is 10x squared. And then that's going to be 6x minus 5x. So that's going to be a plus 1x, positive 1x, right? And then negative 4 minus 2 is a negative 6. And that's it. That's all there is to it. You're just kind of combining like terms. Okay? So the next problem, right? It's the same thing pretty much. You just have a trinomial plus another trinomial. So combine like terms. Combine the x squares, combine the x's, and then combine the oopsie, actually let me do that again. So we're gonna combine the x squares, okay, combine the x's, and then combine the constants or the numbers, right? So that'll be negative 3 minus 2x squared, that's a negative 5x squared. And then what happens? It's a negative 6x and a positive 6x. So that cancels, right? That becomes 0. So and then we have a negative 7 and a negative 3. That is a negative 10. And that's it. Let's look at another one. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is subtracting polynomials. So again, remember, you always look at the operation in between them, okay? So in this situation, we have a trinomial, right? We have a trinomial and then minus, all right, another trinomial. But it's subtraction here, right? So the trinomial minus another trinomial. Now, one thing you have to remember is whenever you have a subtraction, you have to remember to distribute that minus, okay? You didn't have to deal with plus because technically, if you distribute a plus, like in the previous examples, right? If we distribute a plus, right, nothing changes, right? A positive and a negative is a negative. A positive and a positive is positive. A positive and a negative is still negative. See? So nothing really changes if you distribute a positive. You just have to remember that when we distribute a negative, okay, all the signs change. So how is this going to look like? Well, we didn't touch the first trinomial. So just rewrite that first trinomial there. Okay, plus 10. And now we're going to distribute our negative sign. So all the signs change. So that was a positive 3x squared, right? Now that becomes a negative 3x squared. And then that was a negative 5x, that becomes a positive 5x. That was a negative 15, now it becomes a positive 15. Okay, so remember that. Basically, whenever you see a negative in front of a parentheses, you have to remember to distribute that negative, all right? And that only applies to negatives or subtraction. Now we can combine like terms. So now let's combine here, combine our x squares, combine our x's. But now afterwards, you do pretty much the same exact thing we did before. You just have to remember that if there's a negative in the front, you have to remember to distribute the negative. So what's that going to give me? Negative 3x squared minus 3x squared is a negative 6x squared. Okay, negative 5x and a positive 5x, that actually cancels, right? Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. And then we have a 10 plus 15, which gives me a plus 25. Okay, and that's it. So the next one. So again here, I have a subtraction sign, right? So that means I need to distribute that negative. Distribute. And I didn't do anything to the first one, the first binomial. So it's going to be 2x minus 14. And then I distribute the minus. Minus minus become a plus 9x. And then that's a positive 6. It's going to become a negative 6. Now what do we do? Combine like terms, right? Combine the x's. So 9 plus 2 is 11x. And then I'm going to combine the negatives. So give me a negative 20. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. So here again, we have a negative in the front. We're subtracting, right? So we have a negative in front of parentheses. So what do we got to do? We need to distribute that negative. Okay. So this gives us 7t squared plus 2t. And then negative and negative turn into a positive. So it's going to be a plus 7t squared. And then it's going to be a plus 7t. And then it's going to be a minus 4, right? You notice how pretty much when you distribute the minus, all those signs change, right? You had a negative 7t squared before, now it becomes a plus 7t squared. It was a negative 7t before, now it becomes a plus 7t. It was a positive 4, now it's a negative 4. Okay? And then same thing, combine like terms, combine like terms, combine like terms. Okay, so that's going to give us a 14 e squared plus 2 plus 7 is 9 t, and then it's just a minus 4 left over. Okay, that's it. Next one. Well, here it's a plus, so we don't do anything, right? You just have to distribute the minus here. Okay, so just distribute that minus. So we didn't do anything in the beginning, so copy everything. It's going to be 6x plus 5 plus 2x minus 8. And notice after you distribute the minus, you can remove all the parentheses. Okay, so after you distribute the minus, you can remove all the parentheses. That's going to give us a negative 3x and a negative 5. Okay, combine all the like terms. Combine, 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 combine. So 6 plus 2 is 8x. 8x minus 3x is 5x. And then 5 minus 8 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. Okay, let's do some more. Oh, okay, and then the next part is just division with polynomials, all right? So let's look at some division polynomials. So basically, division with polynomials, pretty straightforward. Whenever you want to divide polynomials, right? Everybody, you remember, everyone gets that 9y. Okay, so you basically just give everybody 9y. What would that look like? It would look like 81 y to the 6 divided by 9y, okay, and then minus 45 y to the 5 divided by 9y, and then minus 27 y cubed divided by 9y. Okay, and then we divide here, so it's 81 divided by 9, which is a 9, and we subtract the powers. y6 minus y1 is y5. Okay, and remember, you always carry the sign in the front. So think of this as a negative 45, okay? So you're actually doing negative 45 divided by 9. Negative 45 divided by 9 is a negative 5. And then subtract the powers. That's 5 minus 1. So it's going to be 5 to the 4. And think of that as a negative 27, right? Always look at the sign in the front of it. So it's a negative 27 divided by negative 9. That's a negative 3. And then 3 minus 1. So that's a y to the square. That's it. Okay. So if you want to pause the video now, you can try the rest of the problems on your own. Okay. So you can pause the video, try the rest on your own. So I'm going to finish them now. So again, everyone gets that 3x squared. So I'm going to give the 3x squared to everybody. So it's going to be 12x to the 5 divided by 3x squared plus 6x to the 4 divided by 3x squared, right? You see what I'm doing? I'm giving everybody that 3x squared when you're dividing. Everybody gets it. So what happens here? It's 12 divided by 3, which is 4. X to the 5 minus 2 is x to the third. Plus 6 divided by 3 is 2x squared, right? 4 minus 2. And then plus. Now remember, that's going to give us x to the 2 minus 2, which is x to the 0. But that cancels out. But you have 3 divided by 3, which is still a 1, right? Don't forget, 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then the x's are gone, right? Because that's going to give us x to 0. So x to 0 cancels. But 3 divided by 3 is still a 1. Okay, so don't forget the 1 there. All right, let's do some more. Let's do the rest of them. So here again, I'm just going to divide the 5x squared to everybody. So 35x to the 6 divided by 5x squared minus 20x to the 4 divided by 5x squared minus 5x squared divided by 5x squared. So this is going to give us 7. 6 minus 2 is x to the 4. And that's negative 20 divided by 5. That's a negative 4. X to the 4 minus 2 is 2. Minus x to the 2 minus 2 is x to the 0, right? So that cancels. But you got 5 divided by 5. 5 divided by 5 is still a 1. Okay. Next one, same thing. You're going to divide negative 7a cubed to everybody. So it's going to be negative 56a to the 6 divided by negative 7a cubed. Okay, and it's going to be minus 49a5 divided by negative 7a cubed plus 42a4 divided by negative 7a cubed. Okay, so here we have negative 56 divided by negative 7. That's a positive 8. And then a to the 6 minus 3 is 3. And here we have, remember, take the negative in the front, right, of the sign. So the negative 49 divided by negative 7. That is a positive 7. A to the 5 minus 3, which is 2. And then we have a positive 42 divided by negative 7. That is a negative 6. And then a to the 4 minus 3, a to the 1. Okay? All right, the last two. So here, same thing, right? Just distribute negative 6x cubed to everybody. So 48x to the 7 divided by negative 6x to the third minus 12x to the 4 divided by negative 6x cubed minus 6x cubed divided by negative 6x cubed. Okay, so divide that out. 48 divided by negative 6 is a negative 8. 7 minus 3, x to the 4, 7 minus 3. Then we have a negative 12 divided by negative 6. Negative 12 divided by negative 6 is a positive 2. X to the 4 minus 3, x to the 1. We have a negative 6 divided by a negative 6. So that turns into a positive 1. And then x cubed minus x cubed. X3 minus 3 is 0. So then what happens? That cancels out, right? So negative 6 divided by negative 6 is a positive 1. Right, and this last one, so same thing, right? It's pretty much same thing, right? 39b9 divided by negative 3b squared minus 21b5 divided by 3b squared plus 3b squared divided by negative 3b squared. So, 39 divided by negative 3 is a negative 13. B to the 9 minus 2 is 7. Negative 21, right? Negative 21 divided by 3 is a negative 7. B to the 5 minus 2 is a third, is a b to the third. And then that's positive 3 divided by negative 3, it's a negative 1. And then b to the 2 minus 2 is b to the 0, so it cancels, right? And that's it. Okay. So again, if you got lost anywhere, just re-watch the video again, pause it when you need to. Any questions, post on the discussion forums, and I'll see you next time.